What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I hope you're having a good day, a good Thursday. At least that's the day I'm releasing this video. Yikes. I've recently found church back in September. I started going back to church when Charlie Kirk lost his life. And so I am admittedly pretty new to this. But before I even kind of got into the church, started going back to church and feel like I've started to make my way back to some form of religion and Christ. And by the way, I'm not ever gonna, force that on my viewers. This channel's not gonna be like a Bible thumping channel. Sometimes I feel like maybe it's worth mentioning because this new video shows, in my opinion, demons are real. And sometimes they're young, sometimes they're old, but we already know what the monstrous acts of this individual in Canada, what the net of them was, what happened. 10 plus people are no longer with us, and some are still fighting for their lives, even very young, because, well, crappy parents, gender ideology, and we've got a lot of updates here. We got Asmongold commenting on it too, and much of it is just it's sad. I want to start by because of the nature of this video, I'm glad I have a sponsor. Real quick. Private internet access. Shout out to this video's sponsor, Private Internet Access. Look, if you aren't using a VPN yet, you're completely missing out, and Private Internet Access is the one I use on all of my devices. If you've been following the news, you see that censorship, websites, apps are getting shut down in certain countries, all sorts of craziness. Well, a VPN helps you never have to worry about that. Private Internet Access also protects you from the prying eyes of hackers, internet service providers, and others that can view your personal data. Perhaps also just as importantly, Private Internet Access allows you to access region-restricted content from all over the world. Streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and more have different library options based on where you're located, and some shows simply cannot be accessed if you're not in the target location. Happens to me all the time. Many sports events also have regional blackouts. Well, VPNs can be a convenient way to make sure you're getting the content that you're paying for. Private Internet Access also allows you to protect an unlimited amount of devices all at the same time, so your entire household with a single subscription. And I've been working with Private Internet Access so long that I have an absolutely massive discount available to my viewers. Link in the description below. Get Private Internet Access today using my link. Save huge, protect your computers, access all the content that you've been paying for. So this is Jesse. Jesse hurt 35 innocent people yesterday, including his mother, sister, a teacher, and young kids. 10 no longer with us, many still fighting for their lives. The government decided that instead of supporting Jesse's mental health, helping a disturbed child, that they would tell Jesse that he was a girl and pump him full of hormones and SSRIs instead. We've talked about kind of the widespread SSRI stuff. I've even shared, I overshare. I know it gives like haters and trolls a lot, but I'm authentic and that's who I am. I've dealt with anxiety and panic attacks ever since I was like 22, 23 years old. I've been on SSRIs ever since. I'm trying, my goal is to get off them in 2026, replace it with meditation and other. I'm not saying everyone should, but I'm saying, the more we learn, the more I'm concerned. The government, its institution and agencies knew that Jesse was mentally unwell, a disturbed individual. He was a danger to himself and others, but allowed him to remain in the community and continued encouraging his delusions. They intentionally poisoned his mind and body. All across the West, we are surrounded by mentally ill people that are dangerous to society. We are surrounded by aggressive criminals and predators. The mainstream media tells you that this is female. Our leaders believe this is acceptable. This is from Lazy B on X. You tell me that demonic possession isn't real. This is who did what they did yesterday. I want you to take it in. It goes on like that. This monster's behavior was encouraged by their parents. Every part of this is completely predictable. Newly uncovered post from the mother of the monster, the trans-Canadian lunatic, revealed that she facilitated her son's transition while telling parents to get their ish together so she doesn't have to bring up our kids in a world full of hate. Good people don't spend their time harassing marginalized communities. In America, we've started prosecuting the parents. And, I think we should consider that. I mean, I really do. I think at this point, what are we doing here? Parents have to learn to think twice, and before they're pumping their kids full of all these chemicals, and they're at fault. Here's Asmongold responding to it.
And so the mother of Jesse Strang was a hardcore trans rights activist who wanted transgender children. She was murdered by her mass murderer son, who began transitioning as a child.
Yep. I mean, look, parents are supposed to protect their kids. Parents are supposed to protect their kids, right? At what point are we going to start saying, hey, wait a minute. We now pretty much know the kind of the timeline, the likelihood, the possible outcomes of, giving people who are already struggling. And again, I try to be understanding, right? I'm not trying to be a monster. I'm not trying to be, unloving. I'm trying to be understanding. It's obviously clear that this person needed help and everyone could see it. But we now know, now more than ever, that pumping them full of SSRIs and pausing, giving them gender hormones, this is not actually helping them. It's adding fuel to a fire that's already burning out of control.
Oh my God. Good people don't spend their time harassing marginalized communities. No, they spend their time apparently shooting up schools. Just like your son. Wow. Killed his brother too? Is that true?
Yep, and his mother. Yeah.
I mean, there it is. And she's dressed up like a clown. I think that's pretty accurate because now she's dead. This is what happens whenever you, and how much do you want to bet that, because again, I don't have any sympathy for these people. I don't, because what you did is you enabled a person to go out there and kill.
Yes, yes, I agree. Big true, 100%. 100%. You, at some point, we had this case in Michigan, right, where the parents were charged because they helped facilitate their kid getting a weapon to go do something terrible. I mean, I know it's a big stretch to ask Canada for this, but America should set the precedent. If you are cooking your kids up on a cocktail of substances that we know lead to horrible outcomes in just far too many cases, there should be some amount of liability there for people to actually be thinking about it. And meanwhile, by the way, the Canadian media photoshopped his face to make him look better. That's what the media is doing. It's Canadian media, but it's all media because they know they push this stuff. Remember, the person who carried out this stuff is a woman with mental health issues. That's what ABC News said. Called him a woman. It's not a woman. When you have the mainstream media, parents, teachers, everybody else involved in facilitating this, getting people, all hopped up on this stuff, What do you expect is going to happen? What do you expect is going to happen?
You drugged up your kid,
right?
You drugged your kid up and you put them on SSRIs.
True.
You let them do drugs.
True.
And you gave them a gun.
True.
And you were letting them think that they were another gender as a child.
True. At some point, we have to say, well, what is going on with the parents?
Like, and then they kill you? That's what happens.
Oof,
you shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't have done this. Like, you're a moron. Like, why would you do this? Like, yeah, it's child abuse. Exactly.
Yes,
like,
yes.
You basically, like, you hop this kid up on a bunch of drugs, crazy ideologies. He flies off the handle, and that's what happens. It's sad. I don't feel any sympathy for them at all. I feel sympathy for the kid, because the kid was obviously, let's not pretend that, like, people who end up in this community aren't battling something. A lot of times they're, they have horrible things happen to them. And they just were dealt a crummy hand at life. But parents have a responsibility to try and, help their kids. Parents have a responsibility to try and, keep them safe, keep the community safe. If you know your kid is a lunatic, maybe you don't arm them. sympathy for the families that have been killed.
Right.
And the people that were killed that had nothing to do with this.
Right.
Really, again, people make this sad. And honestly, I feel worse for the kid that did the shooting than I do for her. She's the adult. She should be the one knowing this. But instead, she gassed this up and led her son to believe all of this crazy shit, let him drug himself up, take other illicit, illegal drugs, and on top of that, allowed him to have a gun, and then he went out and killed them. Bro, this kid is at a degree. There's a reason why you're a legal guardian.
100%. This is her statement. As a conservative-leaning libertarian who lives in the North and lover, I don't know, living a small town, I really hope the hate I see online is just bored old people, not true hatred. Do better and educate yourself. Well, maybe the mom should have educated herself. It's always the moms. It's always the liberal mom. She was not a conservative-leaning mom. And look, sometimes parents get duped and they're told, well, do you want a dead kid or a trans kid? Look, you owe it to your family, your child, to do your own research and understand that that statement is false. Asmongold is 100% correct, and now we have a dozen people no longer with us. At what point, and the media is still more concerned about using the quote-unquote correct pronouns. It's disgusting, it's predictable, and it has to stop. I hope you're informed by this video. If you were, please do leave a like on it. If you have yet, please subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.